Always assuming the worst. I feel like it was sometime right after my mom died. I don't know if that was the start of it. It was probably the start of it. But realizing that in situations where I didn't know what was going on, I would always assume the worst. My mom was murdered. Yeah, it was like a drive-by shooting, but not really. And, you know, obviously that's traumatic. I think it was a few weeks before my 13th birthday. But from that point on, if I didn't know what was going on, I would assume the worst. Trying to get a hold of somebody, just, you know, like a family member just isn't answering their phone. You know, they might be in the shower or some shit, but me not being able to get a hold of them, I would just assume the worst. Like, oh, they got into an accident. Something terrible has happened. And I'm never going to see this person again. And that carried into relationships. You know, partners going on a trip somewhere, taking a plane, and I haven't heard from them in like a few hours and they're not responding, so the plane must have gone down. Or in other situations, partner is hanging out with someone I know they're attracted to, so they're definitely cheating on me with that person. There is a conspiracy behind my back to hurt me. Because I don't know what's going on in whatever situation. We won't go into how realistic some of that stuff would be, but it's not a way to live your life, let me tell you. That can happen from big situations, big life events like your mom being murdered. It can also be passed on from people in your family who never grew up. Negative Nellies, people who never have good things to say about anything or anyone. You know, they're quick to jump and criticize when they have the option to. You know, going on vacation and, oh, the bed's not big enough or some shit like that. Just constantly focused on the negative, on the lack, on the worst thing, assuming the worst. I'm getting away from this, thankfully. I'm gonna be, oh, it's July. I'm gonna be 33 next month. That's like 20 years. 20 years I've been living this way. I'm just now getting away from it. Not assuming the worst, of having faith, of having trust. Trust in the people that I've decided to have in my life. Faith that they want good things for me because I want good things for them. Recently had to cut a bunch of people off because I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, if you're into manifestations and stuff and you're always assuming the worst, that's not good. If you're a master manifester who's always assuming the worst, that could be bad. But otherwise, I like alchemy because it's all about turning the shit on its head. Instead of always assuming the worst, I still have a perspective of what could go wrong. And instead of letting that immobilize me, I just take it as knowledge, as, information to put into whatever decision I'm making. So, instead of like thinking about what's gonna go wrong or whatever, it's more like, what is the worst thing that could happen, and how do we integrate that into our decision making? What's the worst thing that could happen if I blank? I've been trying to, work from this space. We'll take climate change, for example. If we're wrong, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, if we're wrong about climate change, the worst thing that can happen if we make changes to improve the planet, the worst thing that could happen is we spent money on improving the planet, I guess. What's the worst thing that can happen if climate change is real and we do nothing? End of our existence as we're currently living it. Kind of a big deal. Which one of those do you want to operate on? Oh, we could make the planet a better place to live and be wrong about it. Or, we can watch the world just disintegrate or whatever because we were wrong and we didn't take action. So if you are the kind of person who always assumes the worst, try and stop doing that. But your brain is probably going to do that anyway. It's been trained to do so. So just don't let it be something that scares you and puts the fear into you to do nothing. Use that to your advantage. Think about what's, assume what the worst could happen is and make your decision based on, that. What's the worst that could happen if this is true and I do this? What's the worst that can happen if this is true and I don't do this?